The morning light on Veltar painted the crystal city in soft blue colors. Elder Veleneth walked slowly through the peaceful gardens where his people lived. Cthera had built their homes from living crystal that grew like trees. Children played near the singing fountains, her skin glowing with happy patterns of light. Veleneth stopped when he felt something wrong in his mind. Other Cathara around the city felt it too. A dark shadow was coming from space. He closed his eyes and reached out with his thoughts to touch the minds of his people. "Come to the Great Hall," his voice whispered in their heads. "Something terrible approaches." The Cathara gathered in their most sacred place. The round hall was made of clear crystal that showed the stars above. In the center stood a tall stone that helped them share thoughts across great distances. Veleneth placed his hands on the warm stone and felt the fear of his people. "Show us what comes," said Elder Miraseth, her old face marked with worry lines. Veleneth opened his mind to the darkness and space. Images flowed through the stone into every Cathara mind. Black ships as big as mountains moved between the stars. Their metal hulls were covered with weapons that could burn worlds. Inside the ships lived creatures that looked like giant insects with hard shells and sharp claws. "The Vorthok," whispered someone in the crowd. Stories of this cruel race had traveled from world to world. They destroyed everything they found. They took no prisoners. They showed no mercy. The Vorthok fleet moved closer to Veltar, like a storm of death. Their leader, a creature called General Krex Valium, stood on his command ship and looked at the peaceful world with hungry eyes. Another weak race, Krex Valium, clicked to his officers. "We will take their world and use their people as slaves. They resist. We kill them all." The Vorthok had done this many times before. They found peaceful worlds and took everything. They cared nothing for the lives they destroyed. They only wanted power and control. Back in the Crystal Hall, the Cathara watched the approaching fleet with growing terror. Their people had never built weapons. They'd never learned to fight. For thousands of years they had lived in peace, using their minds to grow food and heal sickness. They talked to solve problems, not fight about them. "How many ships?" asked Elder Jernwell, his young face pale with fear. 50 warships, Veleneth answered. "Each one carries weapons that could destroy our entire city." The children in the hall began to cry. Parents held them close, but their own hands shook with fear. The Cathara had always believed that peace was stronger than war. Now they faced enemies who only understood violence, must try to talk to. "Them," suggested Elder Miraseth. "Perhaps they will listen to reason." Veleneth shook his head sadly. "I have touched their minds from far away. They feel no kindness, they feel no mercy, come only to destroy and take." Outside the hall, Cathara families looked up at the sky. They could see tiny lights moving between the stars. Those lights were death ships coming for their world. Some people ran to hide in deep caves. Others gathered in their homes to pray. But everyone knew that nothing on their world could stop what was coming. In just 2 days, the Vorthok would arrive. Their plasma cannons would burn the crystal cities. Their soldiers would hunt down every Cathara they could find. Those who lived would become slaves on mining worlds far from home. Veleneth felt the despair of his people like cold water in his heart. But then he remembered something from the old stories. Long ago, the first Cathara had learned to send their thoughts across the stars. They had used this power to find other peaceful races and make friends. "We will call for help," Veleneth said suddenly. The hall became quiet. Everyone looked at the old elder with hope in their eyes. "But who will answer?" asked Jerinwell. "The other races fear the Vorthok too much to fight them." "Then we will send our call farther," Veleneth replied. "We will reach into the deepest parts of space. Way somewhere in the darkness, there might be people who still believe in protecting the innocent. All the others join hands around the great stone." They poured their combined mental power into one desperate message. The call for help raced through space faster than light, carrying the pain and fear of an entire world. "Help us," the message said. "We are dying. We have done no harm to anyone, but killers come to destroy us. If anyone hears this call and has the power to fight, please save us. We are the Cathara of Veltar, and we do not want to die." The psychic scream crossed the galaxy, touching the minds of 100 different races. Most turned away in fear. Some felt sorry, but did nothing. The message seemed lost in the vast emptiness of space, but far away. On a small blue and green world, something new was listening to the stars. The alarm bells rang through Earth's Deep Space Command Center in Seoul. Admiral Park Dungmin ran down the metal hallways, his boots making loud sounds on the floor. He had been sleeping when the call came. Something important was happening. In space, the command room was full of people working at bright computer screens. Lieutenant Kim So-jin looked up when the admiral walked in. Her face was serious and worried. "Sir, we got a strange signal from deep space 30 minutes ago," she said. "Our computers are still trying to understand what it means." Park looked. At the big screen on the wall, numbers and strange symbols moved across it like a puzzle. "What kind of signal? It's not like radio waves or normal space communication," Kim So-jin explained. "The science team thinks it might be some kind of brainwave, like thoughts being sent through space." Park had never heard of such a thing. Earth had only learned to travel faster than light 5 years ago. They had built new ships and explored nearby star systems, but they had never found other living beings. Commander Lee Min-ho walked over with a tablet computer in his hands. "Admiral, the language team finished working on the message. You need to see this." Park took the tablet and read the words slowly as he read. His face became angry and sad at the same time. The message told about peaceful people who were going to be killed by evil aliens. They were asking anyone in space to help save them. "This is real?" Park asked. "I checked it many times," Lee Min-ho answered. "The signal came from a star system 400 light-years away. The message talks about ships coming to destroy an entire world of innocent people." Around the room, other officers stopped their work to listen. Earth had always wondered if humans were alone in the universe. Now they knew. The answer: there were other people out there, and some of them needed help. Park walked to the communication station. "Get me a direct line to President Yang Hae-jin in the Blue House." The screen flickered and showed the president sitting at her desk. Even though it was late at night, she looked awake and ready. "Admiral Park, I heard about the alien message. What do you think we should do, Madam President? These aliens are asking for help against attackers who want to kill them all. They sound like good people who never hurt anyone." President Yang thought for a moment. Behind her, Park could see other government leaders gathering in the room. "Admiral, we don't know anything about space wars. Our ships have never fought alien enemies. We could lose everything." "That's true," Park agreed. "But these people will die if no one helps them. The message says the attackers will be there." In 2 days, the president talked quietly with her advisors. Park waited and watched the alien message play again on his screen. He thought about his own children at home. If evil aliens came to Earth, he would want someone to help his family. "Admiral," the president said finally, "you have permission to take our Pacific Fleet to help these aliens, but be careful. Earth needs you to come home safely." Park saluted. "Thank you, Madam President. We won't let innocent people die if we can stop it." The communication ended. Park turned to face his officers. Everyone in the room was looking at him with excitement and fear. "Commander Lee, order all ships in the Pacific Fleet to prepare for immediate departure. We're going to war." "Lee?" Min-ho started giving orders over the radio. In space stations around Earth, 12 of humanity's newest and strongest warships began getting ready for battle. Ships had names like U.S. Incheon, U.S. Busan, and U.S. Busan. Each one carried 200 crew members and the most powerful weapons Earth could build. Captain Choi Min-soo received the order on his ship, the U.S. Incheon. He had been training his crew for 3 years, but they had never fought in a real battle. "All hands, prepare for hyperspace jump. We're going to save some aliens." His crew moved quickly through the ship, checking weapons and engines. Many of them were young people who had joined the Space Navy to explore the stars. Now they would fight to protect strangers they had never met. Lieutenant Commander Seo Yujin worked at the weapons control station. She made sure every missile and cannon was ready to fire. "Sir," she said to Captain Choi, "are we strong enough to fight these Vorthok aliens?" "I don't know," Choi answered honestly. "But we have something they might not expect. We have humans who care about doing what's right." On Earth, families watched the news about the alien message. Some people were scared that fighting in space might bring danger to Earth. Others were proud that their planet would help innocent people. Park's wife called him before the fleet left Earth. "Dongmin, come home safe," she said with tears in her eyes. "I will," he promised. "But first we have to help these people. If we don't, who will?" The 12 Earth ships formed a line in space above their home planet. Each ship was only 300 meters long, small compared to the alien warships they would face. But inside each ship were humans ready to fight for strangers who had asked for help. Admiral Park stood on his command bridge and looked at Earth one last time. The blue and white planet looked peaceful and beautiful. Soon he would be far away, fighting in a war between aliens. "All ships," he said into his microphone, "jump to hyperspace. Let's go show the galaxy what humans do when good people need help." The fleet disappeared into the darkness between stars, racing toward a distant world where hope was dying. The space around Veltar looked like a nightmare. 50 black Vorthok warships hung in the darkness like giant metal monsters. Each ship was over a kilometer long, covered with glowing weapon ports that pointed down at the crystal planet below. General Krexvolm stood on the command bridge of his flagship, the Death's Mandate. His insect-like body was covered in dark armor, and his forearms moved across control panels. Through the ship's windows, he could see the beautiful blue and silver world of the Cathera. "Begin the bombardment," Krexvolm ordered his crew. "Destroy their cities one by one. Leave some alive for slaves." Bright red plasma beams shot down from the Vorthok ships. The first beam hit the crystal city of Velanarin, turning the living buildings into melted glass. Thousands of Cathara died in seconds. Their psychic screams filled the minds of survivors across the planet. On Veltar's surface, Elder Velaneth felt his people dying. He knelt in the ruins of the Great Hall, his hands pressed against the cracked communication stone. "Please," he whispered to the empty space above, "if anyone can hear us, we are running out of time." The Vorthok ships moved closer to the planet, preparing to land soldiers. Krexvolm watched the destruction with satisfaction. In a few hours, another world would belong to his empire. Suddenly, Lieutenant Zeekmer at the sensor station made a clicking sound of confusion. "General, we have new contacts appearing on the edge of the system." "More refugees trying to escape?" Krexvolm asked without interest. "No, sir. These are warships." 12 vessels, unknown design. They just came out of hyperspace. Krexvolm turned to look at the tactical display. 12 small ships had appeared 50 million kilometers away. They were tiny compared to his massive fleet, each one barely 300 meters long. "Insects," Krexvolm laughed. "Some foolish race thinks they can challenge the Vorthok Empire. Destroy them quickly, then continue with the planet." On the bridge of the UES Incheon, Captain Choi Min-soo stared at the enemy fleet through his ship's cameras. The Vorthok vessels were much bigger than anything Earth had ever built. Their black hulls bristled with weapons that glowed like angry red eyes. Admiral Park Choi said into his communication device, "The enemy has us outnumbered and outgunned. Each of their ships is at least twice our size." Admiral Park's voice came back calm and steady from the flagship U.S. Seoul. "Captain, size isn't everything. Our weapons are different from what they expect. All ships, move to attack formation. Show them what human engineering can do." The 12 Earth ships spread out in a battle line. They looked small and weak next to the massive alien dreadnoughts. But inside each ship, human crews worked with deadly purpose. Lieutenant Commander Seo Yujin sat at her weapons control station. On the Incheon, her fingers moved across the targeting computer, locking on to the nearest Vorthok ship. "Captain, all weapons ready. Tungsten rounds loaded, nuclear missiles armed." The Vorthok expected energy weapons like plasma cannons and laser beams. Every race they had fought before used such weapons. Their ships had special shields designed to stop energy attacks. They were not ready for what came next. "Fire," Admiral Park ordered. The human ships unleashed hell. Tungsten rounds, moving at incredible speed, punched through Vorthok energy shields like they were made of paper. The aliens had never seen kinetic weapons that fast and powerful. Nuclear missiles followed the tungsten rounds, exploding inside. enemy ships and tearing them apart from within. The first Vorthok dreadnought, the Killing Wind, shuddered as human weapons ripped through its armor. Internal explosions lit up the ship like a deadly firework. Half the crew died in the first minute of fighting. Possible. Krex Volume screamed as he watched his ships take damage. What kind of weapons are these? Our shields should stop everything. Lieutenant Zeekmer's voice was full of panic. Sir, their projectiles are pure metal moving at extreme velocity. Our energy shields can't deflect solid matter at those speeds. Their explosive devices use nuclear fusion. 3 more Vorthok ships exploded in bright flashes. The human fleet moved through space like hunting wolves, their weapons finding weak spots in alien armor. Each Earth ship carried hundreds of missiles and thousands of tungsten rounds. Captain, Choi watched his tactical display with grim satisfaction. Target the big one in the center. It must be their command ship. CO Yujin adjusted her targeting system, firing full missile spread at the enemy flagship. 20 nuclear missiles streaked across space toward the Death's Mandate. Krex Volume watched them coming and felt fear for the first time in his long military career. These unknown aliens fought with a precision and brutality that shocked him. The missiles struck his flagship's armor and exploded. The Death's Mandate rocked violently, throwing Vorthok crew members against the walls. Emergency lights flashed red as systems failed throughout the ship. On the surface of Veltar, Kithara looked up at the space battle with amazement. Elder Veleneth felt the thoughts of the human warriors through his psychic abilities. Their minds were focused and angry, but not with wild rage. They fought with controlled fury, like predators protecting their territory. Who are these beings? Veleneth whispered. They came to help us, but their thoughts are filled with such violence. In space, more Vorthok ships died under human weapons. The aliens tried to return fire, but their plasma beams moved too slowly. To hit the fast Earth ships, Admiral Park had studied the enemy for the entire trip to Veltar, learning their weaknesses. All ships press the attack, Park ordered. Don't let any of them escape to hurt innocent people elsewhere. The battle for Veltar had begun, and the galaxy was about to learn that humanity answered calls for help with deadly force. The space battle turned into a massacre. More Vorthok ships exploded under the relentless human attack. General Krex Volume watched his mighty fleet fall apart as small Earth vessels moved between his dreadnoughts, like deadly fish. 2 defensive positions. Krex Volume screamed into his communicator. Form a protective circle around the Death's Mandate. But it was too late. The human ships had scattered his fleet across the star system. Captain Choi Min-soo guided the UES Incheon through the wreckage of alien vessels, his weapons still firing. At anything that moved. Sir, reported Lieutenant Commander CO Yujin, the enemy flagship is badly damaged, but still fighting. Should we finish it? Not yet, Choi replied. Admiral Park wants prisoners for questioning. Target their engines and weapons, but leave their life support working. On the crippled Death's Mandate, sparks flew from broken control panels. Half of Krexval's crew was dead or wounded. The general himself had green blood running down his armored face from a head injury. Sir, Lieutenant Zeekmer said weakly, our weapons are offline. Engines are failing. We cannot fight or run. Krexvolm stared at the human ships through his cracked view screen. These aliens were smaller and fewer than his forces, but they fought like demons from the old stories. He had conquered 50 worlds in his career, but he had never faced enemies like this. Suddenly, the human ships stopped firing. The U's soul moved close to the Death's Mandate. Admiral Park's voice came through the communication system, speaking in perfect Vorthok language. General Krex Volume, this is Admiral Park of Earth. You have 2 choices. Surrender now, or we will destroy every ship in your fleet. Krixval's forearms shook with rage and fear. How do you know our language? Who are you? We're humans, Park answered. It came because the Cathara asked for help. You made a mistake when you decided to hurt innocent people. The Vorthok general looked around his ruined bridge. 26 of his ships were completely destroyed. The others were damaged and defenseless. In less than 2 hours, these unknown humans had crushed the most powerful fleet in this part of the galaxy. "We surrender," Krex Volume said quietly. But Admiral Park was not finished. "Commander Lee, prepare boarding parties. I want every surviving Vorthok soldier captured. They will answer for what they tried to do here." On Earth's ships throughout the fleet, human Marines put on their combat armor and checked their weapons. Sergeant Han Duyan led his squad toward the airlock of the UES Inchin. Behind him, Corporal Park Yunji and 12 other Marines followed with grim faces. "Remember," Han told his soldiers, "these aliens came here to kill an entire planet of innocent people. They don't deserve mercy." The Marines blasted through the airlock of a damaged Vorthok cruiser. Inside, the ship was dark and filled with smoke. Vorthok soldiers tried to fight back with their plasma rifles. But human weapons were faster and more accurate. Han moved through the alien corridors like a hunting wolf. His pulse rifle cut down Vorthok warriors with precise shots. His ammunition ran low. He drew his combat knife and fought hand-to-hand with the insect-like aliens. Han shouted as he drove his blade into a Vorthok officer's chest. "Corporal." Park Yunji kicked down a bulkhead door and found 6 Vorthok soldiers hiding inside. They raised their weapons to shoot her, but she was faster. Her rifle spoke 6 times. And 6 aliens fell dead. The human Marines moved through enemy ships with terrible efficiency. They had trained for years to fight in space, but this was their first real battle. They discovered they were very good at it. On the surface of Veltar, Elder Velenith and his people watched the space battle through their psychic abilities. The Cathara could feel the thoughts of both human and Vorthok warriors as they fought and died. The alien minds terrified them. The Vorthok thought only of conquest and cruelty. But the human thoughts were even more frightening in a different way. The Earth warriors felt righteous anger, controlled violence, and deadly purpose all mixed together. "These humans," whispered Elder Miraseth, "they are not like us. They know how to hate, and they are very good at killing." Velenith nodded sadly. "We asked for salvation, and the universe sent us predators. They fight to protect us, but their minds are full of darkness." In space, the last few Vorthok ships tried to escape. Admiral Park ordered his fleet to hunt them down. No enemy vessel would leave this system alive to threaten other innocent worlds. The EU's Busan caught up with a fleeing Vorthok destroyer at the edge of the star system. Captain Kim Jae-soon gave no warning before opening fire. The alien ship exploded in a ball of nuclear fire. Admiral Captain Kim reported, "All enemy vessels destroyed or captured. The Vorthok threat has been eliminated." Park stood on his command bridge and looked at the wreckage floating in space. 50 alien warships had become scrap metal and frozen corpses. His own fleet had lost only 3 ships and 200 crew members. "Good work, all ships," Park said into his communicator. "Today we sent a message to the galaxy. Earth protects the innocent, and we show no mercy to those who would harm them." On their crystal world below, the Cathara were safe. But they had learned something that would haunt their dreams forever. Their saviors from Earth were perhaps the most dangerous predators the galaxy had ever seen. The age of human space warfare had begun. 3 days after the Great Battle, Elder Veleneth walked through the crystal gardens of his city. The beautiful towers still stood, but many had cracks from the Vorthok attack. As people moved quietly through the streets, their skin showing. Pale colors of confusion and fear. The humans had saved them. But the Cathara did not know how to feel about their rescuers. A shuttle from the human fleet landed in the main plaza. Admiral Park Dong-min stepped out, followed by 6 of his officers. The Korean admiral wore his dress uniform with medals that caught the alien sunlight. His face looked tired but determined. Hundreds of Cathara gathered to see the human leader. They whispered to each other through their mind connection. Sharing their mixed feelings about these strange warriors from Earth, Elder Veleneth approached Admiral Park with slow, careful steps. The old Cathara's skin flickered with patterns of gratitude mixed with uncertainty. "Admiral Park of Earth," Veleneth said in his soft voice, "we owe you our lives. You came when no one else would help us. Our children will live because of your courage." Park removed his military cap and held it respectfully. "Elder Veleneth, we did what any good people should do. Couldn't let the Vorthok destroy your world, but Velanessa's large eyes looked troubled. We felt your thoughts during the battle, Admiral. Your people's minds are ... different from ours. You carry darkness inside yourselves that frightens us. The other humans with Park shifted uncomfortably. Commander Lee Minho started to speak, but Park raised his hand for silence. Elder, my people learned long ago that sometimes good must wear the face of terrible anger. We don't fight because we enjoy killing. We fight because some things are worth dying for. Your people are one of those things. Around the plaza, young Cathara children hid behind their parents. They had heard the human thoughts during battle, images of violence and controlled rage that their peaceful minds could not understand. But why do you help strangers? Asked Elder Miraseth, stepping forward. What do you gain from fighting? Our enemies? Park looked up at the twin sons of Veltar. On Earth, we have an old saying. Evil wins when good people do nothing. The Vorthok were evil. You are good people. The choice was easy. Captain Choi Minsu approached the group carrying a data tablet. Admiral, we're receiving communications from across the galaxy. Word of our victory is spreading fast. Park took the tablet and read the messages. Some came from other peaceful races, like the Kithara, offering friendship to Earth. Others came from military powers, wanting to know more about human weapons and tactics, but the most interesting messages came from oppressed worlds throughout the galaxy. Dozens of civilizations that lived under the control of various tyrants and conquerors were asking for Earth's help. It seems, Park said to Elder Velaneth, that your distress call started something bigger than we expected. Across the galaxy, the news of humanity's intervention spread like wildfire. On the war world of Krekstar, the Vorthok High Command gathered in emergency session. General Dexan, supreme leader of their empire, studied reports of the battle with growing alarm. 50 ships destroyed by 12 unknown vessels. Dexan clicked angrily. How is this possible? Sir, reported intelligence officer Vex Cole, these humans use primitive kinetic weapons, pedal projectiles and chemical explosives. Are designed to stop energy weapons, not solid matter moving at such speeds. Vic's S4 arms drummed nervously on his command table. What do we know about their homeworld? Very little, sir. But our surviving prisoners say the humans fight with controlled fury. They show no mercy to enemies who threaten innocent civilians. For the first time in his long career, the Supreme Vorthok General felt something he had never experienced before. Doubt his empire had conquered hundreds of worlds because no one could match their military power. Now these humans had changed everything. On other worlds throughout the galaxy, different reactions took place. The peaceful Altarian Republic sent messages of friendship to Earth, hoping to form an alliance. The Zephyrian Trade Union offered valuable mining rights in exchange for human protection. But the hegemony of Scalos, a brutal empire that enslaved weaker races, began preparing for war. Their war leader, Overlord Malvoy, studied the battle reports and ordered his scientists to develop new weapons specifically designed to fight humans. Back on Veltar, Admiral Park prepared to leave with his fleet. Been stripped of their weapons and technology. The surviving alien prisoners would be taken to Earth for questioning. Elder Velaneth approached Park one last time before the humans departed. Admiral, we are grateful for your help, but we must ask what happens now. Will you become conquerors like those you defeated? Park's weathered face showed a sad smile. Elder, we go home to our families and our peaceful lives. But if other, innocent people call for help like you did, we will come again. That is who humans are. The human shuttle lifted off from Veltar's surface. As it flew toward the waiting Earth fleet, thousands of Cathara watched from their crystal city. They are protectors, Velaneth said to his people. But they are also predators. They've awakened something ancient in the galaxy, a race that sees war not as conquest, but as sacred duty. The U-Soul activated its hyperspace drive, followed by the rest of the human fleet. As they disappeared into the darkness between stars, a new chapter in galactic history began. Across the universe, tyrants looked toward Earth's sector with fear, while oppressed peoples whispered a new word of hope. Human. The galaxy would never be the same. Earth had announced its presence, and the age of unopposed cruelty was ending.